My family didn't just kick me out. They teamed up with my cheating ex to steal my asterisk house. Yeah, you heard that right. While I was out rebuilding my life, they were busy plotting how to hand over the keys to someone who wrecked mine. But trust me, what happened next? They never saw it coming. All right, let's get this straight. My name's Mark, I'm 26, and my family? A total disaster. If you think your folks are bad, wait till you hear this. So there I was, minding my own business, building a career, living a so-called normal life. But one fine day, my parents decided it was time to play God and boot me out of the house. No warning, no, let's talk about it, son, just pack your stuff, you're out. Like I was some tenant who forgot to pay rent for 6 months. And the reason, get this, I was too independent. Yeah, let that sink in. Apparently, being 26 and making your own decisions is a crime. I wasn't following their rules anymore. Like, come on, do they really expect me to follow house rules made by people who still think texting is a millennial thing? No, Mom, I'm not going to check in every night like I'm 12. And that's what got me booted. Classic, right? So picture this. I'm standing there, suitcase in hand, trying to process what just happened. My little brother Billy, 22 years old, and already thinks he's some kind of big shot. He's lounging on the couch like a king. The moment I step out, he's already moving his gaming setup into my room, claiming it like it's the Wild West and he's staking out new land. He even flashes me this smug grin like, good luck out there, old man. I swear, if looks could kill. I'd love to tell you I handled it all with grace, but nah, I was fuming. Who wouldn't be? I'd been demoted from firstborn son to homeless in 5 minutes. All because my parents couldn't handle the fact that I had my own life. It's like, what? Do they expect me to live by their golden family rulebook forever? At 26, dude, I should be out there doing whatever the hell I want, not asking permission to breathe. And as if that wasn't enough of a slap in the face, the real nightmare was just getting started. Oh, you thought getting kicked out was the climax? Think again. This was only the trailer for the train wreck that was about to follow. But hey, let's be real for a second. Nothing says family love like being evicted by your own parents, right? So I finally managed to scrape together enough cash to get my own place. Freedom, right? For a minute, I actually started to think life was looking up. My grudges against the fam were fading into the background, and I was ready to move on. But, of course, nothing ever goes smoothly in my life. Just when I was getting settled, guess who decides to stage a comeback? My ex, Jessica. Now, let me paint you a picture. Jessica and I split 2 years ago, and it wasn't exactly amicable. She had a side hobby, collecting other boyfriends while we were still together. Yeah, real classy. I kicked her to the curb, thinking I'd seen the last of her. But nope, not in this nightmare. Turns out, she'd been cozying up to my parents while I was out there trying to rebuild my life. And it gets better. My little brother Billy, the genius who took over my room, is now treating her like she's the long-lost family treasure. I mean, come on. The girl cheated on me, and now she's besties with my mom, the same mom who kicked me out for being too independent. The math isn't adding up here, folks. But things didn't really click until I got that oh-so-sweet invitation for a family dinner. When my mom called, her voice was dripping with fake sweetness. You know, that kind where you just know there's something sinister behind it? I should have trusted my gut and stayed home, but no, I went. Dumb move, Mark. So there I am, sitting at the dinner table, and who waltzes in like she owns the place? Yep, Jessica. She's strutting around like she's the prom queen, throwing out smiles like candy on Halloween. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there, trying not to choke on my mashed potatoes. The whole vibe was so staged, it felt like an episode of some trashy reality show. Then my mom, with her trademark passive-aggressive charm, drops this little gem. You know, Mark, sometimes it's important to learn how to forgive. Maybe it's time for you two to make peace and move forward. Together. Together? Together? Hold up, is this some kind of twisted joke? You seriously think I'm going to move forward with the same girl who is juggling more guys than a circus performer? And why does it feel like she's angling for something more than just forgiveness? Oh wait, she is. Now, the real question that started spinning in my head, are they trying to get her back into my life? Or worse, back into my house. So here's where things got extra weird. You know when people start acting shady, throwing sideways glances and whispering like they're in some secret spy movie? Yeah, that's exactly what was happening. My parents, Jessica, and even Billy, they all started giving me these sly looks like I wasn't supposed to notice. At first, I brushed it off. I mean, come on, no way they're all plotting against me, right? Wrong. Turns out, I wasn't being paranoid. The bomb dropped when my Aunt Lisa, bless her soul, the only real one in the family, called me up one day, and she was fuming. She goes, "Mark, honey, you need to know something. Your mom and dad have been talking about giving your house to Jessica." Hold up, what? My house? You mean the one I bought with my hard-earned cash, not a single penny from their pockets? Yeah, that house. Apparently, in their twisted little minds, they helped me get started in life for some nonsense, and now they think that gives them the right to just hand over my place to Jessica, all because she deserves a second chance. A second chance at what? Gold digging? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So let me get this straight. They kicked me out of their house for being too independent, and now they're planning to evict me from my own house to give it to my cheating ex? Oh, and their reasoning? It'll be a fresh start for her. A fresh start? How about no? She doesn't need a fresh start. What she needs is a reality check. And let me tell you, the audacity of these people was off the charts. They genuinely thought they could just yank my house out from under me and toss me to the curb, again. Like, who does that? And Billy? Yeah, of course, he was all in on it. I bet he was dreaming of being the hero, saving Jessica from her tragic life, which, let's be honest, she caused herself, and becoming the golden boy in the process. Meanwhile, I was about to lose the one thing I had left, my house. So there it was, their grand plan. Kick Mark out again, let Jessica move in, and pretend like this is all perfectly normal. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, Mark, your family's trash, but your friends, they've got your back, right? Spoiler alert, wrong. I figured I could at least count on my crew to help me stay sane during all this madness. I mean, we've been through everything together. Late night parties, breakups. Even that time I bailed Tom out of jail because he thought it'd be a great idea to borrow a shopping cart at 2 a.m., but apparently loyalty's not what it used to be. The weird part? It didn't happen all at once. First, it was subtle. Plans would get canceled last minute. Excuses started piling up. Oh man, I'm swamped with work. Or, sorry bro, got family stuff. Yeah, sure, all of you have family stuff at the same time every weekend. I thought maybe it was just bad timing. But then, when no one showed up for poker night, nobody, I knew something was up. Turns out, Jessica had been doing a little PR tour behind my back. Yep, she's not just a master of cheating, but apparently of slander too. She told everyone, like literally everyone, that I dumped her cold, that I was this heartless jerk who couldn't commit, and that I ruined her life. I mean, seriously? Last time I checked, she was the one who ruined our relationship by juggling more dudes than a circus clown, but I guess facts don't matter when you're running a smear campaign. And here's the kicker. My friends bought it. All of it. Hook, line, and sinker. They started acting like I was some kind of villain in a soap opera. Oh, Mark, we didn't know you were such a terrible boyfriend, they'd say, shaking their heads like disappointed parents. It was like watching a bad movie where everyone's in on the plot except the main character, me. I tried to explain, tried to tell them the truth, but the more I talked, the worse it got. It's like the harder I fought, the more guilty I looked. They just nodded and gave me those condescending looks, like they were humoring me. Sure, Mark, sure. It was infuriating. I mean, how do you argue with someone who's already decided you're the bad guy? So yeah, my support system crumbled faster than a sandcastle at high tide. Friends gone, reputation trashed. And while my social life was spiraling into the void, things at home, well, let's just say they were only getting darker. It was like I'd stepped into a full-blown conspiracy. Everywhere I turned, there was Jessica's twisted version of events playing on repeat, and my so-called friends were just eating it up. Trust me, there's nothing quite like being ghosted by people you thought would ride or die with you, all because your ex has a silver tongue and zero shame. And here's where things went full-on psycho mode. My parents, having clearly lost their last shred of sanity, decided it was time for a family intervention. But, without telling me. Imagine coming home, ready to chill after a long day, and bam, there's your entire family, just sitting in your living room. No knock, no call, no heads up. They were acting like it's some episode of family therapy that I missed the invite for. At first, I thought it was just going to be another guilt trip session, typical, why don't you call more, or you're not spending enough time with us. But nope, they had bigger plans. As soon as I sat down, my dad clears his throat like he's about to deliver some grand speech, and the next words out of his mouth were pure insanity. Mark, it's time to move on. Move on? What the heck does that even mean? Then it hits me. They want me out of my own house, my own damn house that I paid for. And guess who they're rolling out the welcome mat for? Of course, Jessica. Because according to them, she needs a fresh start, and apparently, I'm just in the way of her glorious redemption arc. Jessica's had a tough time, Mark, my mom starts, doing that guilt-inducing mom voice thing. She just needs a place to rebuild her life. You'll have another chance. You're young. You'll bounce back. Bounce back? From what exactly? Being evicted from my home so my ex can have her little new beginning? I couldn't even process the level of audacity. Like they seriously thought I'd just pack up and hand over the keys? This wasn't just a case of bad parenting. It was a full-scale heist. I was sitting there, staring at them, completely stunned. It took every ounce of willpower not to blow up right then and there. My mom's sitting there, looking all pleased with herself like she just solved world hunger, while my dad nods along like some sidekick. Billy? He's just there, scrolling through his phone, not even pretending to care. Jessica's been through so much, and we just want to help her start over, my dad added, like that somehow justified their plan to steal my house right out from under me. Like, am I missing something? Did I fall into some alternate reality where my parents are suddenly running a charity for cheating exes? I knew if I stayed any longer, I'd lose it, and blowing up in front of them wouldn't help me in the long run. So I did the one thing that could actually turn the tables. I walked out, cool as a cucumber, and called my lawyer. No more family drama, no more guilt trips, just straight up legal warfare. Let's see how they handle that. So here I am, fully geared up for battle, lawyer locked and loaded, evidence prepped, and my patience running on fumes. This wasn't just about keeping my house anymore. This was personal. My family had crossed the line. And Jessica? Oh, she was about to learn that playing the victim card doesn't work when your whole deck's full of lies. The day of the court hearing rolls around, and I walk in, head held high, ready to see this circus play out. And let me tell you, the moment my parents saw me stroll in with a lawyer at my side, the color drained from their faces. They looked like they'd just seen a ghost. Probably the ghost of their failed heist. Jessica, though, she walks in like it's just another Tuesday, calm, collected, and fake as ever. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head, prepping her next Oscar-worthy performance, and right on cue, she starts with the waterworks. Your Honor, she whined, voice all shaky and pitiful. This house, it was our dream, our shared vision. I thought we were building a future together. Oh, please. She must have been building her future with all the other guys she was seeing behind my back, but she didn't mention that part, did she? The judge, stone-faced and unimpressed, barely glanced at her before turning to my lawyer, who was already on fire. My guy wasn't messing around. He came armed with all the paperwork showing how I bought the house, I made the payments, and how their little scheme to transfer ownership to Jessica was basically a joke. Every time Jessica or my parents tried to interrupt, he shut them down with cold, hard facts. It was glorious. But the best part, when my lawyer exposed the sloppy legal trickery they'd been trying to pull off, turns out my parents had been working with some sketchy notary, trying to forge signatures and manipulate documents to make it look like they had a claim on the house. Jessica was in on it too, of course, trying to play the sweetheart who just needed a fresh start. Yeah, well, that fresh start wasn't happening here. The judge leaned back, looked over the mess they'd made, and sighed. This is clearly a fraudulent attempt to transfer property, he said, and I could see the last bits of hope drain from their faces. Jessica? Her little damsel in distress act was falling apart faster than a house of cards in a windstorm. My parents? Silent, No more high and mighty speeches about helping her out or doing what's right, just blank stares as they realized they'd lost. And then the words I'd been waiting for. The house stays with Mr. Mark. Boom! Just like that, the first victory was mine. They'd come for my house, but they were leaving with nothing. I walked out of that courtroom feeling like I'd just won a championship game, but I knew this wasn't the end, just the beginning of their downfall. So the judge ruled in my favor, and for a moment, I thought things might calm down. But nah, the real chaos had only just begun. My parents, in their infinite wisdom, decided that I was the villain in all this. "Mark, you've ruined the family," they cried, like I was the one scheming to steal someone's house. Oh, the irony. Apparently, standing up for myself and not letting them pull off their little property heist made me the bad guy. Go figure. My mom even hit me with, "You've destroyed the family legacy." Legacy? Lady, I'm just trying to keep a roof over my head without having my ex move in and redecorate. And speaking of the ex, Jessica was fuming. I've never seen someone so furious about losing a house she never even owned. The second we left that courtroom, she started blowing up my phone with threats. "I'll see you in court again," she screamed, like she hadn't just lost in front of an entire room of people. Newsflash, Jess, that courtroom show was your one-hit wonder and it flopped. But by all means, try again. I'm ready. I didn't even bother responding to her rants. Instead, I did the smart thing. Every single message she sent, every half-baked threat she threw my way, I forwarded it all straight to my lawyer. Let him handle it. I was done playing her games. But oh, the best part? Billy, my genius little brother, suddenly went radio silent. Remember how he was Jessica's #1 fan, cheering her on like she was some reality TV star about to win the big prize? Yeah, well, the moment he realized there wasn't going to be a shiny new house in it for him, he vanished. Poof. Stopped answering my calls. Stopped showing up at family dinners. He practically ghosted the whole family. I mean, I'm not saying I missed his calls or anything, but watching him slither away after backing the wrong horse, that was pure gold. For once, he couldn't skate by on that charming little brother act. He thought he'd come out of this smelling like roses, but instead, he got a front row seat to his own defeat. In the end, family ties, shredded. My parents couldn't look me in the eye without pulling out the "you've ruined everything" card. And Jessica? She was still desperately trying to dig her way out of the mess she created. And me? I was standing there, watching the wreckage with a smug grin. Maybe I wasn't the hero in this story, but I sure as hell wasn't the one who started the fire. Now, they were the ones left scrambling, and I'd call that my own little victory. The final move? Yeah, that one was all mine. See, after all the drama, the court battles, and my family's nonstop gaslighting, I decided to play my own game. I sold the house. Yep, that's right. Sold it for a sweet pile of cash. Honestly, it felt like the ultimate mic drop. And here's the kicker. I didn't just sell it. I took that money and invested it into a brand new life. Far away from all their nonsense. A fresh start where my family's twisted power plays couldn't reach me. And trust me, they didn't see it coming. When my parents found out, oh man, I wish I could have seen their faces. They thought they still had me trapped in their little game, still pulling the strings like I was some puppet. But the moment they realized I was gone, house sold, bank account fat, and me nowhere to be found, they were blindsided. They couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that I'd just moved on, that I had won. Jessica, she probably had visions of moving into my place and redecorating it in some tacky Pinterest style. But now, she's out there, scrambling, with no home and no chance of leeching off me anymore. She bet big, and she lost everything. And Billy? He was ghosting so hard, it's like he never existed in the first place. He thought he'd play the charming little brother and come out on top, but all he got was a front row seat to my victory. Here's the best part, though. I didn't just disappear without a trace. I made sure they knew I wasn't coming back. I sent one last group message before I went off the grid. House sold. I'm out. Good luck with whatever mess you've made. And then, blocked. Every single one of them. Honestly, I couldn't care less about family reunions or holiday dinners at this point. Being alone, way better than being stuck in that toxic mess. I don't need them, and and I sure as hell don't need their drama. But you know what? Something tells me this isn't the end. People like them don't just let go that easy. They'll probably try something stupid, thinking they can pull me back in. But guess what? I'm ready for anything. Let them come. I've already won.